the business developing every year? Is the business happening in such a way that I develop a business instead of a brand? Is my business having a great turnover every year? Let me tell you this. If you're an entrepreneur, these are not the questions that you have to think or tell yourself every year. I'm Varsha and welcome to the Freedom Business English channel. Do not forget to subscribe and download our Freedom app. In this video, I'm going to be telling you a couple of questions that an entrepreneur has to keep thinking over and over every year to themselves that if they are following this or not. Starting off by asking, what are your weaknesses? What we fail to understand as an entrepreneur is that we don't notice that is our weakness turning into strength over the time. We just see that, okay, this is the problem, we'll have to solve it, go ahead. But we don't see what led to that problem and what is the basic weakness that we lack when it comes to that problem. So this is what entrepreneurs fail to do. They have to see that is the problem being solved, is the weakness what they think might affect even in the future being solved. So weakness is one of the things that we always have to keep in mind. Weakness is meant to be created so that you can turn that into your strength. There are so many possible ways to solve a particular problem. So there is this one thing you always feel that you might not find a solution most of the times. But as we all know that you have to find what you lost in the place where you lost it. That is where you're going to find the solution for it as well. So if you think there is a problem and that might be your weakness, then try finding the solution right away, then and there. So calculating your weakness is one of the most important things that you have to keep in mind. Calculate all the weakness so that that is not carried over every year. Thinking about weakness is one of the main questions that every entrepreneur has to think every year to him or herself. When we talk about weakness, only thing we think about is the blind spots which are affecting us. But what we don't see is that, is our weakness being taken as an advantage to our competitors? If your competitors find your weak spot, they might go over and over striking on it. So don't let your competitors know that you have a weak spot for a long duration of time. 1 year is the maximum that I think that you can cover your weak spot. So letting your competitor easily dive into and understand what is your weakness or weak spot, that is something which will put you and your company into the trouble. So understanding and letting your competitors know that your weak spot can turn into your strength is one of the major ways to move on from it. So thinking about weakness is always the major priority when it comes to an entrepreneur. Second question that every entrepreneur has to think is that, is the time being wasted? Well, time management is one of the most important things if you're an entrepreneur or any person who's scheduled to work. But I will tell you this one thing, a person who cannot manage time cannot manage anything in life. So this is not your mistake if your time is being wasted. I know 1 year of startup always has an effect of time. You need a lot of time to analyze and everything, but this should not continue. If still this is continuing in your company or your business, let me tell you this, you have a very bad team which is not backing you up or telling you time management is one of the most important thing over the years of business. But if you still keep on continuing to waste your time, that might be one of the things that is holding you back when it comes to competition. But as an entrepreneur who always stands and thinks about time is always there, no matter what, and they know how to manage their time. Not everything has to be perfect. It's up to you to make sure that whatever time you're given is covered in a proper way. So first thing that you always have to keep remembering is that, is the time that you're given being managed in the proper way? Is your revenue generation happening in the right time? And is your production happening in the right time? Because over the years, even a minute or an hour of time might actually affect your entire business. So keeping this in mind, you have to determine whether the time is being wasted or time is being managed. The next question that an entrepreneur has to think, is the business running the same even in the absence of the entrepreneur? Let me tell you this, everyone can run the business in the right way when the entrepreneur is there because they know that they've been given the right guidance and they know that they have to understand the entire thing. But without the presence of the entrepreneur, is the business running right? Your team has to be prepared if the business has to go right even if the entrepreneur is not there. And this is one of the major questions that every entrepreneur has to keep thinking and revising over and over. Is the team ready to perform whatever is given to them even without your presence? Every entrepreneur cannot stick to the same schedule every day. They'll have different focus, different things to plan for their entire day. But the team has to be there and back them up when it comes to the situation of running the business. Over time, the entrepreneur has to grow by himself. he has a mindset of focusing on other things or expansion of the business. But the team which is already allocated in a particular sector has to perform on its own. Starting the guidance is given by each and every entrepreneur because they know that preparation is one of the major things that can only help in succeeding. But over time, they have to be prepared no matter what crisis comes for them. There might be all of a sudden chances of risk, and the team has to be ready even if the entrepreneur is not there. So entrepreneurs always have to think that, is the team ready to face any risk or any uncertainties when it comes to the business? Uncertainties can happen in the form of resources or in the form of finance. Every team which deals with each and every sector should be ready to face it. Marketing also comes into account. The marketing team also should be prepared when it comes to this particular way. Leader is someone that an entrepreneur has to choose in a right way so that all these sectors which they are planning might fall into risk can also be backed up with a solution. Next question that an entrepreneur has to think is that he or she has a right mindset and has an open mind towards accepting new culture. Every year trend changes. Every time trend changes. Every customer that you get keep on changing. So there is a particular set of loyal customer, but you always need new set of customers to understand if your business is going by the trend. So all the entrepreneurs have to think for themselves that if they're having the exact open mind, that they can show to the world that they are ready to give the new and innovative products. By thinking that if they're ready to do this, they are a willing and happening entrepreneurs. Most of the entrepreneurs actually fail to ask themselves this question. Are they going along with the trend? They have to be so much open-minded to the culture because they don't know what is the new thing coming up. They should accept the new talents who come up with new ideas. Giving them the opportunity to come up with the new ideas with the present generation might actually help your business develop in many ways. Developing doesn't only mean in the way of budgeting. This can also help in your financial profit margins. It can also help in many more ways when it comes to new ideas and innovation. Product that you already created, and yes, that is going to solve a lot of people's problem. But eventually that has to keep getting into a next level and keep on upgrading itself when it comes to marketing and its ways of promotion. People have to know that there is a purpose for your product and there is a reason for its existence. So getting on with the trend and understanding and being open-minded towards its new ways is one of the most wanted advantages to your company. So if you are an entrepreneur, please keep this in mind that you have to keep thinking towards the trend and let in new ideas and cultures flow through it. When I say that you have to let in the new ideas and new cultures flow through, I also mean by telling getting new people in. New people with new ideas always have innovative plans. Every generation differs from one another's. Probably experience matters in this, but even getting a new creative way, mixing it with experience gives you a great way of marketing and promotion. As I told you, there are many ways to promote your product. But what people forget is that are they promoting in the way people are expecting them to? There are different ways of capturing people's mind. For example, Vodafone actually used a pug dog where people all were adoring the dog, which says that where you go, I follow. But eventually, they changed it to Zuzus. So this is one of the major ideas where people actually turned towards the Zuzus, and that actually became a trend. This is one of the way to capture people's mind. Next one is that are the pillars what you constructed still the same and still strong? By pillars, I actually mean first is the entrepreneur, second is the company, third is your consumers. Are all the three what you constructed still the same or are they falling apart? First is entrepreneur. Is he happening and working the same way that he started? Has he changed his way and mindset towards the entire company or business? Second is the company. Company always keeps changing. All the company's process has to keep changing when the trend changes. Company's employees change, the recruitment agencies change, and when it comes to marketing, the levels of marketing also change. Promotions keep happening in different ways. New ideas keep flowing in. So this is where company plays an important role. Next one is the consumer. Consumers are always God, but what we fail to understand is that making them sit in the first place. Well, you created this business for your product. Keeping your product first is your main priority. Then comes customers who are buying it, because customers have to understand why is the product created. And then you have a set of loyal customers who actually keep coming back to you. For example, when we talk about Cadbury's, Cadbury's first came in a small pack and people started having them. They actually started giving 10% extra in the initial stage. They started giving many more flavors of Cadbury's and we all used to have that. And later on, when we got attached to this brand and when we started using this brand in a long run, that is when they actually started shrinking the size of the chocolate. But still, we go and end up buying Cadbury's or Dairy Milk Silk. This is one of the most important examples that I can think of. And you can also see how these people have changed over the years. So this is one of the most important ways to capture your loyal customers' mind. No matter what, people will not stop having Cadbury's chocolate in India at least. But this is the way that you can help people come towards you. So one thing that you have to keep in mind is having loyal customers and also bringing in new customers, because you will need change when it comes to your company's customers as well. Last one is that, did I make my team strong? This is one of the most important questions that an entrepreneur has to ask him or herself. Did you make your team strong? Every leader has a purpose to start a company, or every leader has a purpose to form a team. Have you made your team strong, or have you developed your team into a strong competitors with other market? This is how people define you as an entrepreneur. If you can't make sure that you have made a strong team, then you're not right to be an entrepreneur. You cannot take everything upon yourself and then work as a company, because you have a team which is there to back you up no matter what, no matter how difficult it is. That's why it's called as a collective work. You are the one who can determine that whom have you made strong and who can be the next leader according to you. So this is one of the most simple things that every entrepreneur has to keep in mind, that he or she has to always promote and help the upcoming leaders. So if you found this video helpful and you have learned what an entrepreneur has to keep thinking over and over again when it comes to business or a company, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also download our Freedom app, which can give you many more details regarding personal finance, business and marketing, and also organic farming. Thank you so much.